Hey everyone, here's just an extremely quick introduction to Ableton Live. So when you open Ableton, it will open in this view. We are going to use this view in a later tutorial, but for this first tutorial, we're not going to utilize this view. We're going to hit the Tab key to switch to this view. We can also switch between the views here. This is called the Session view, and this is called the arrangement view. As we can see in the arrangement view, we've got a timeline layer paradigm going on here with two MIDI layers created for us and two audio layers. For this tutorial, we're only going to be working with audio layers, and actually we're going to convert one of them into a video layer. We'll see how that goes in a moment. So the very first thing you want to do is save your live set. Because it opens up with a new unsaved project. Save that, and now we can start dragging media in. And Live is not a video editor. It's not good for video editing, but just so we don't have to add yet another piece of software, we're going to do our simple video editing for our project along with our audio editing in Live. And the reason we're going to do that is also because we're using Magenta AI to generate some AI music, which is done in Live. So again, just to keep us in a single piece of software, we're going to use Live to cut our video as well. It's not ideal for that. And if you have access to some other video software, Premiere or something else, feel free to use that. So the way to get video into Live is to drag it onto an audio track, and that audio track will become a video track. So I'll just take my Starship movie here, drag it onto track 4. Track 4 becomes 4 Starship, and a video window pops up, and now I can play my video back with the play button. And your navigation controls in Live are pretty standard. You've got a play head that you can position and click anywhere within your media. Stop, play buttons up here. This top gray bar allows you to zoom in on the portion of your timeline that you want to look at. You also can click and zoom on the black part of the timeline up here. And like I say, this is just a very, very quick introduction to Live, so I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. And you don't have many editing options with video in Live, but you can trim. And you can see this trim is actually sticking to the musical bars. So I can turn off snap to grid here under my options menu. Turn off snap to grid. Command 4 will also toggle snap to grid. And note how I looked that up. I just went help. I typed in snap. It gave me the options and showed me where it is in the menus. So now that snap to grid is off, I can get smooth trimming of my video start and end. And if I play that, the video will cut in. Any place I want to cut the video, I can select that point and hit Command E, and that will chop the video at that point. If I want to duplicate the video, I can hold down Option, click and drag. That will make a duplicate. And if I want to put in multiple videos, I can just drag them in. I can arrange my video on the timeline so that it cuts from one piece of video to the next and to the next. And unlike most video editing software, if I move something to another layer, it creates a new audio track for me. It's not going to layer these. You're actually going to get unexpected results if you have video happening on two different layers at the same time. But what it can be useful for is cutting things to the same length. So for instance, if I wanted to start on my wide shot of two people and then cut to a close-up of the two people, I can stack these just so that I can make my cut in the same place. I can shift-click both of them, hit Command E. That will slice them both at the same spot, and then I've got my wide shot cutting to my close-up. If I wanted to cut back to my wide shot, I could Option, click, and drag to duplicate this, stretch it out. Again, cut both of these in the same place by Shift clicking both, Command E to cut them. And put everything back on the same track. Wide shot over to the close-up, back to the wide shot. And it looks like I've got a little scrap of video left there on the lower track, which is causing it to hiccup, so I can just delete that. And of course, mostly what we use Live for is editing audio. I've got an audio track here. I can take some audio that I want to drop in. And when you drag in audio, you don't want it to be warped to the beats per minute of the track that you're on. So click down here at the bottom and turn off warp.
In the quiet corners of uncharted space, a covert martial conflict rages unconstrained. Serving as the backdrop to otherworldly rule and occupying sovereignties battling over control to define their sector of affluent planets.
Okay, so I don't want all of that, so I can, same thing with audio, click where I want to cut it, hit Command E, delete. I'm gonna shrink my Starship video down. Drag over this stuff to bring it over here.
Conflict rages unconstrained.
Close that gap.
Conflict rages unconstrained.
And then if there's more audio that I want to drag in,
constrained.
I assumed none of you subscribe to focused surveillance science, as study upon study has driven elimination toward healthy teams by summoning stable ROM theories of contraroidics cargo sway like wave analyses. Both this application in maximizing Werfen's
take some of him and grab some audio for her.
Martial conflict rages unconstrained.
I assumed none of you subscribe to focused surveillance science.
You just don't get it. You'll have us right in the brig older seeing stuff.
And this is AI generated, ChatGPT generated text that then read by Google's AI voice. Just been playing around with that, so it's pretty much nonsense. I have the heat of the generation turned pretty far up, so it's not gonna make a tremendous amount of sense.
Conflict rages unconstrained. Conflict rages unconstrained.
I assumed none of you subscribe to focused surveillance science.
You just don't get it. You'll have us right in the brig older seeing stuff. To do carbon now twist implications.
And you can hear that's warping. So I'm going to turn the warp off on these clips so they don't warp, and they'll get a little bit longer. So I need to space them out a bit.
Conflict rages unconstrained.
I assumed none of you subscribe to focused surveillance science.
You just don't get it. You'll have us right in the brig older seeing stuff. To do carbon now twist implications. Wait, chill out. I size waves IUMS on the Ofterling hand.
Command E to cut. If I want to go back to some audio of him, I can Option click and drag to duplicate. Makes a new track. Stretch this out and grab another slice of his audio to lay in here.
Rages unconstrained.
I assumed none of you subscribe to focused surveillance science.
You just don't get it. You'll have us right in the brig older seeing stuff. To do carbon now twist implications. Wait, chill out.
Like wave analyses. Both this application and Max.
And I can Option click and drag and just duplicate this, and it's far enough apart we won't necessarily recognize it's the same clip. And then I can even cut back to the starship at the end.
Constrained.
I assumed none of you subscribe to focused surveillance science.
You just don't get it. You'll have us right in the brig older seeing stuff. To do carbon now twist implications. Wait, chill out.
Like wave analyses.
And then if you want to add another layer of sound, like I just have a starship sound to go in the background, can just lay that onto another audio track.
In the quiet corners of uncharted space, a covert martial conflict rages unconstrained.
I assumed none of you
And I can adjust the volume here of each individual track, so I can make this 7.5 decibels quieter.
In the quiet corners of uncharted space, a covert martial conflict rages unconstrained.
I assumed none of you subscribe to focused surveillance science.
And if I want to control the volume over time, I can click on this automation mode right here. Go to show all parameters, mixer, track volume, and then I can actually draw in my volume changes. So I could, for instance, take everything here and start just with some ship noise that fades down and then fades up again at the end.
In the quiet corners of uncharted space, a covert martial conflict rages unconstrained.
I assumed none of you subscribe to focused surveillance science.
You just don't get it. You'll have us right in the brig older seeing stuff. To do carbon now twist implications. Wait, chill out.
Like wave analyses.
That spaceship ambience is made with the sound of a cat's purr, slowed way down. So this is a couple of quick ways into working with Live, and this is really also so that we can get to the next step, which is to use Magenta Studio and do some AI work.